Hello and welcome to another whiskey review with me, the Whiskey Novice. Thank you for joining me where we have returned to Ireland. And here I'm going to tell you a little story before we start. Recently, I got a little whiskey fatigued. I took a bit of time off. Look, it happens to the best of us. We sometimes just get a little tired of it. It's probably all hobbies. And I just got a little whiskey fatigued, as we call it. So I walked away for a while. Don't worry, we generally come back. And I thought whenever I come back, I want a bit of a palate reset. It wasn't this one in particular, but I just decided to have something just to reset my palate a bit. And I actually bought, then I hadn't had a bottle for a long time, the Powers 3 Swallow. And it's a pot still. Let's remind you what pot still whiskey is again. Back to that mash bill. So whereas malt whiskey is 100% malted barley, pot still is a mash of at least 30% malted barley, at least 30% raw barley, and then you can add up to 5% of other cereals. So this one, the Powers 3 Swallow, Powers, one of the oldest names in Irish whiskey. This one's been around for a while. Is there colour added? Probably. It doesn't say anywhere on it. It does say it's non-chill filtered. Weird considering it's bottled at 40%, but there you go. And a pot still. And I'm going to even say right from the outset, an entry-level pot still. In my opinion, this one's very much an entry-level pot still. I paid £40 for this, which is around that price usually. So let's get stuck in. It's light. It's a fairly delicate nose. A lot of it sort of mandarin orange, softer fruity notes, slightly sweeter. I would even suggest a bit fudgy. Caramel. This is all ex-bourbon matured. Do you know, it's perfectly functional. There's not a damn thing wrong with it. Very delicate notes. As I said, entry-level pot still whiskey, but not a bad entry-level pot still whiskey. Apricot, yeah. I said about mandarin, those softer fruits. Even where the orange thing is going, there's a powdery sort of Barocca sort of thing, you know, that thing, Barocca, you know, the powder you add to water. And it's not bad, not bad. Let's get into the palate. Once again, delicate, sweet and sour arrival, not slapping you about, not over sweet, which is nice. Most of what's going on in the nose carries through into the palate. It's delicate. It's got that, we'll say weirdly. Here's the thing about pot still whiskey. It's not necessarily the flavour. Most of that flavour is still going to come from the grain, come from the copper contact in the stills, come from the barrels maturing it. It's the mouthfeel of pot still whiskey which changes it up. It's an oily, creamier mouthfeel is the way I would describe it, with a lovely peppery finish. And Powers is renowned for it, always has been. That nice peppery finish is tip top. It's one of those things that I still, where Powers is concerned, will always prefer the John's Lane, the 12-year-old. But once again, we're talking about a reset. And when I reset with this, I did find it very light. It's funny how as we move through our journey, we do want more, I think. I'm not even suggesting cask strength, but something to write home about. That's, I think, what the issue with this is for me. I'll say it again, nothing wrong with it, but it just gets to a point and then you feel like as if you want some more. So it's light on the palate. It's the finish, yes, there's that pepperiness at the back of the palate, but there's not much more than that. And very quickly, when your palate acclimates to it, it just stops being much of anything at all. A good introduction to pot still Nothing really wrong with it. However, if you're looking at Powers whiskey and having a go at it, look at maybe the rye, or certainly the John's Lane, the 12-year-old, which is bottled at 46%, non-chill filtered, etc., etc. This one, all right. Would I buy it again? Probably not. I mean, it's one of those things that this, however much is in the bottle, will probably sit in my cabinet for quite a while. I've reset my palate and then I moved on. So let's all do the same, shall we? So I didn't add water to this, so I didn't suggest what it'd be like with water. I know what it's like with water. Far too delicate. It's there's nothing there really for me. What would I suggest then as an alternative? This was easy because I all along knew in my head what I would suggest as an alternative, and it's not. You might think I would have suggested the 12-year-old John's Lane. No, I'm going to go with this Green Spot. Another good introduction to pot still whiskey, but a better introduction to pot still whiskey than the Powers 3 Swallow. It's just there's more going on in the Green Spot, in my opinion. If you're stripping right back or starting right at the very beginning, 3 Swallow, yes. If you want that little bit more, certainly in a bar or wherever, the Green Spot is superior to the 3 Swallow, in my opinion. It's just got more going on. So that's for not an awful lot more money. So that would be my suggestion as an alternative to the Powers 3 Swallow. There you go. That's that. Thank you very much for joining me, as always a pleasure. Thank you very, very much to my patrons. Should anybody wish to support the channel further and join that group, the details are in the video description below, as always. I'll be back next time, and I hope to see you there again. Until then, look after yourselves, and here's to your good health. Cheers!
Hey, thanks for watching my video. Please click and subscribe to be notified of further content.